starting like the webinar right now. With me is Yusuf, Olumiyiwa Yusuf. Okay, when I asked Amina to get a scholar for us that has gotten this internship, I was just like, okay, just anyone that has won ARM internship, and then she gave us a profile. You want it to you won the PwC advisory internship in 2018, and now the Assets and Resource Management Company internship in 2019. Is it like something that you use in your application that we are not aware of? Please, we'd like to know because it's kind of intimidating.
Yeah, I mean, to be very honest, there's nothing, I won't say there's anything special I do in my applications. Usually, I always believe that, these applications, these CVs, cover letters have to meet a particular standard before they are sent out. So that's typically what I do. But no, I wouldn't say there's anything special, really. I will go through some of the things I did during the course of this webinar. But yeah, it's something that anybody can do as well.
Okay. So I believe you might want to share your screen then. So I've just granted you access to be a co-host, just in case you want to share your screen.
Okay, and I mean, I don't need to share my screen. I'll just talk through a couple.
So
yeah. Can you hear me?
So I'll stop sharing mine so you can So I just stop sharing my screen now so you can have...
It's fine. It's fine. I don't need to share my screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So just like a quick intro, what is the ARM internship about? Because some people they might have seen been to the website, they've seen a lot of things, but one that I know for certain is that a person that has been there has better definition of what the internship is about than what you see right there on the website. So please help us. What is the ARM internship about?
Okay. Before I get there, let me introduce myself. I realize I've not introduced myself since we started talking. Right. Yeah. So my name is Muyiwa Yusuf. Currently I'm doing a master's program in finance at Imperial College in London. But prior to this, I studied economics at Babcock University. I finished in 2019. And before then, I interned during my undergraduate days. I interned, I think after my first year, in PwC Nigeria within the advisory unit, which really sparked my interest in finance as a whole. And then upon graduation, I interned with ARM Investment Managers, and I was able to secure a full-time offer from them. I worked there for about 2 years and 6 months until I came on this career break to study here in London. Okay, so to your question on the internship, right? So the internship is the 2-month program split into 2 parts. So the first part is comprised of a team, I would say like a team workshop competition. Please mute themselves. Okay, all right, great. So the first part is a team competition whereby you'll be given a task. The interns will be split into 3 groups. I mean, it could be less or it could be more. I'm not sure how it's done now, but the interns are split into groups and they're given a project to work on. So you basically have to solve an industry-related problem, come up with solutions, recommendations based on your research, and present, to the management. And then it's basically a competition between the groups, and the management will decide, the panelists will decide who wins, who has the best ideas. There's usually a prize for the winner. And then after that, you would be then allocated to a division. You would have the chance to pick prior to then the division you want to intern in for the next month. And then you would work there as an intern for a month. And that's the end of the program. So yeah, that's the structure of the program. So I can't hear you. I don't know if it's only me. I think you're muted. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was saying that you mentioned that immediately after your internship at ARM, you were employed full time. So because this could like lead to the next question. How was the internship for you at ARM? How was it for you?
Yeah, it was good. It was great. ARM has an amazing culture. That's one of the things that I would boldly say anywhere about ARM. And to be fair, for me, there was a lot of intentionality involved with me interning and working at ARM because ARM was on my radar for a while before I eventually got the internship and got the full-time offer because I'd, done my research into the kind of companies I would like to work for and where exactly in finance I would like to position myself. So the internship was great. It was a good networking experience. I met a lot of people that I still keep contact with. And it was a great learning experience. It allows you to, have insights into these parts of finance where you've been seen on paper prior to now or prior to, the internship for me. So it was a good dive into the professional world of finance, and it shapes, some of my career plans and aspirations towards, where I am now. So yeah, it was a very good experience. And of course, the competition, really impacted a lot of soft skills, I would say, in terms of working with people. You'd be split into teams with people that have different backgrounds. ARM doesn't just employ people that study finance, economics, or those related courses. There were people that studied law, some people that studied computer science, some people that studied sociology, things like that. So having to work with these different minds was a task, but ultimately that's the kind of thing you would experience in the professional world. So it was tasking, and it was soft skill building to bring everything together to ensure that we're able to get the outcome we wanted. And eventually, during my year, my team actually won the competition out of all the intern teams. So yeah, it was very productive.
I can imagine having you there. Definitely, your team will win. I can't imagine anything less. So yeah, on the website they mentioned something about CGPA. So just want to know because this is a question that usually like comes up every now and then. Is the internship for those with like 4.5, like the first class students, or can those with 2.2 or 2.1 apply and still have a reasonable opportunity in competition?
So I mean, typically for applications, any application in the finance industry, a 2.1 is enough. Of course, like, companies want the best, but companies are also aware that um they are brilliant minds within the 2.1 and above range, right? So there's no discrimination really. The minimum is a 2.1. To answer your question about whether 2.2, 2.1 or first class, the minimum is a 2.1. So anything 2.1, I don't know, different universities have their different classifications in terms of the numbers, but anything 2.1 and above is fine.
Thank you. So we cannot hear him. So our viewers here and those on YouTube, 2.1, please go ahead and shoot your shots. You're free and you're good to go.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about the pre-application stages, which is like literally where we are right now.
Yeah.
The education, is it like a specific, like probably some very extra certification besides your undergraduate in this particular university? Is there any particular thing that they want to see on your educational section on your CV that will give you an edge among those that are applying or submitting application for this internship?
All right. So, I mean, so generally, first of all, I would say generally for internships and early career roles, I think more importantly, apart from education, is your drive or your interest for finance or for whatever you're applying for that recruiters want to see. How are you really interested in this? Like, for example, it doesn't really add up for you to be studying and for you to be studying something like fine arts, plus your interests are in creative designing and animation building, and be applying for an investment management role, is shows that you're not really sure of what you want to do. It's perfectly fine to study finance. It's not discrimination to those people. It's the same way if I'm studying economics or studying finance and I'm applying for a creative lead job at Google. It'll be a bit weird, because my education, my experiences, and my interests are not really aligned to that. So more importantly, what you study just needs to have what you study and your interests, they need to have a correlation with what you're applying for. So you can study law and apply for the internship and get in because, you are interested from a legal perspective or even from a finance perspective, regardless of what you studied, into the dynamics of the finance industry, right? So I wouldn't exactly say what you need to study something exactly to give you an edge, but there needs to be a correlation between what you study, your experiences, and your interests. There needs to be a correlation between that and the internship, right? So it just can't be anything and you'd just come and they would accept you into the internship. There needs to be some sign that shows that this individual is interested in building a career in this place. Because ultimately, what companies want is people that are genuinely interested in working, doing the kind of things that they do. You don't want to get an intern that's more interested in music or fine arts, such that when he's meant to be working and learning with you, he wants to go to the studio to sing or he wants to draw. So that's the ideology, you need to show through your education experiences and skills that, what you really want to do for yourself is related to what the internship has to offer.
Okay. Thank you very much for that response. Okay, so you have already said one or two things about experience. So let's just go back. You had an internship in PwC, and for obvious reason, you would want to be like the ideal candidate to be chosen for the ARM. So what I'm saying is, I guess my question is, does your previous experience had to the possibility of you being chosen for this internship?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, during my interview was, I'd say 80% of my interview was about my experience at PwC during my internship. Because a company would typically be interested in someone that has proven and has experience in the kind of things they do, which is very normal. And if I own a company today, that's the same way I would recruit, right? So yeah, the previous internships really help, and that's why I would advise any undergraduate now, whether in your first year, second year, third year, whatever year you're in, always try to do an internship in whatever year, because one internship helps you get the next internship. The next internship helps you get the next internship after that. And the next internship helps you get the next full-time job, right? And the next full-time job helps you get a bigger full-time job, right? So internships always help. Absolutely. My internship in 2018 at PwC helped me. That was the major thing they spoke about during my interview. And if I could backtrack to that, that internship was gotten just from nothing. I would say from nothing, just to encourage people that have no experience, that are just in school. You can get these internships, it's 100% possible. The PwC internship came, I applied, I did a physical test, and I did an interview, and I got the internship, and I had zero experience. So ultimately, like I said, once you can have a good CV, scale through the initial screening phases, practice for tests, pass tests, you get an internship. So yes, there's a correlation. It's my PwC internship helped me, but also for people that do not have prior internship experiences, as long as you put in a strong application, you have a very good chance of getting in.
Thank you very much. This is like the major thing that I really wanted you to speak about for those like the freshmen over there that don't have any idea, no experience at all. So thank you. So can we quickly just move to the application stage? Let's talk about the CV. You've mentioned CV like 3 times now. How should a standard CV of a person that is applying for this internship look like?
Okay.
Do you have a template?
Yeah, I shared one with one of your representatives to your representative. Yeah, but I don't have it open right now, so I guess that could be circulated later. But I can just talk through. I can talk through it.
Please do.
So yeah, I mean, it's first things first. It's a finance related CV, business related CV should have a simple format, one page, and in PDF form, right? But ultimately, in terms of the structure and what should be included, it should begin with your education, because that's what speaks to your background from the first thing. Of course, you'd have your name and your details. When I say your details, it should include your name, your phone number, your email address, and that's all. It doesn't need to include your picture. It doesn't need to include your house address. It doesn't need to include your date of birth. It doesn't need all those things. Just your name, your number, and your email, because that's what is important at the time. So after your details, then your education. You could include your depending on what level you are in. As an undergraduate, you can include your undergraduate degree. You can include relevant modules. So if you're doing economics, you can include that you're studying microfinance, you're studying macroeconomics, you're studying microeconomics, things like that, just to give recruiters some color into the kind of things you're studying. And then you then also include your predicted grade. Or if you're done with university, you can include your final grade. Then after that, you can then include your secondary school experiences. So basically, your experiences and your education should be in a chronological order, such that the most recent comes first, and then after that, the one that came before the most recent comes next. And then the next thing would be your experience. If you have any prior internships, you can include them. But if you don't have any prior internships, you can then include your certifications, your awards, and whatever other thing that can be relevant for the role that are more of a professional nature. So for example, if you're writing ICANN, if you're writing ATS, if you're writing any other professional certification, if you've done one and you've completed it, you can include them under your certifications and projects. And then, as an undergraduate, you'll probably be in a couple of societies. Companies typically like seeing that you have, even in your spare time, you volunteer to be in some of these societies that have some relevance to what they're doing. So, for example, if you're in a finance society like this, it helps. If you're in any other society that has to do with welfare and just helping people, it also helps. And then lastly, you can then include your hobbies. But I share the templates. It should be in a simple format, no designs. If you're maybe in the creative industry, you can have a CV that is designed that has colors, but a simple black and white CV works even till now. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you very much for that. Again, we will share the template to all the various campus group chats. We are aware that those people are here and they will probably be asking, where's the CV? Where's the CV? The lady shared to just the campus group chats. Okay. Thank you very much, by the way, for the template. That's very just for you. Yeah. Still on the application process, the cover letter, how should it look like? What do you want to say? Paragraphs? Are you supposed to repeat what you already have in your CV? You're supposed to buttress it, or what exactly should be on the cover letter?
All right. So the cover letter is basically an opportunity to bring your CV to life, right? So basically on your CV, you have that you studied at XYZ University. You studied economics, but what did that economics degree impact in you? What is that economics degree doing for your mental process, doing for your thinking capabilities, doing for your problem-solving skills? So your cover letter is meant to bring your CV to life, showing the active skills you're learning from your degree, the active knowledge that your degree is impacting in you, right? So it brings your CV to life. It gives the recruiter some more information about the kind of person you are and the kind of things you can bring to the table. So apart from, skills you learned from your education. Your cover letter should also include, in terms of your interest and your hobbies, the things that you do that keeps your that keeps your process running, basically. It also another part rather of the cover letter should also include the reasons why you want to work for the company. And there you can then include company specific information, right? So if you're applying for a company like ARM, for example, you do research into the recent projects, the recent activities that the company has been up to, and explain how these activities match your interests, right? There's a popular event that ARM runs. It's called the Run for the Future, right? And it's basically a fundraising event. So things like that show that you're really interested in the company, as you're really interested in what they do as an organization. You should also research into the model, the operating model of the company. So the kind of units they have, the kind of services they offer. I can tell you some right now. ARM is a holding company. It has a pensions group. It has an investment management unit. It has a financial advisory unit. It has an infrastructure unit. It has an agriculture unit. So you need to understand that, the different, units within this whole company, and the reason why, you working within such an array of services helps your development as a young professional. So it just shows, that you're really interested in working with this company. So basically, your cover letter brings your CV to life. It brings a recruiter closer to your skills and your experiences, what you've learned in terms of your knowledge from your education. If you have any prior internships, what are the skills you learned from these internships? Were you doing any financial modeling? Were you doing any research? Were you doing any presentation? Were you holding a leadership position within your experiences or even in your school? And how have these shaped the kind of person you are today? So it gives the recruiter more information about you, and it's also your chance to show the recruiter why exactly you're interested in working for the company.
Wow. Thank you very much. That's a lot. So, okay, we just come to the end of like the application phase. We'll be moving straightly to the post-application phase. If
Okay.
you are watching us on YouTube, kindly click the subscription button where we update, like on our channel, we update frequent videos like this one on different internship and scholarship. And with us is Olumuyiwa Yusuf. He's currently at the Imperial College London. Bring your masters, right? I guess, right? Masters.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So, Olumuyiwa, let's talk about the areas of interest. Like this on the website was stated that they have data analysis, information technology, financial control, research, investment management. Let's say, for instance, now I'm a law student, I'm a law graduate, actually, all is benefit. Besides the instance, I'm actually a law graduate, and let's say I was like, I don't know, undergraduate, I want to apply for this internship. I'm afraid none of these areas of interest actually like appeal directly or indirectly to like the law degree or like a legal background. So are these areas of interest like very limited? And if you don't have any like background from these particular areas, you cannot apply to the internship, or is there something that I'm missing? Can you like clarify it?
Great. I think ultimately what matters is, regardless of what you study, right? Whether you studied law, you studied anything, are you interested in these areas? Once you're interested and you show that you're interested, it's fine. They do not select people based on the area they want to work in at the end of during the internship. They select people based on the individual. Are you really interested in working in finance? Do you seem to have trainable capabilities that the company can work with, right? So look, it's perfectly fine for you to be a law student and get into the internship. You can be a law student and say you want to do data analytics in the company, or you want to do investment management. It's perfectly fine, because I'm a young professional, right? In your early years as a professional, the major thing you're doing is training and learning, right? That's the major thing you're doing. The major thing you're doing is on understanding people and knowing how these processes work in a real professional environment, right? So ultimately, it doesn't really matter what you study. Of course, just from a natural perspective, it makes sense for the things you study to be correlated with the kind of areas you want to work in, but there's no discrimination in this aspect. So basically, if you are studying law, which you are, which you said you are, it's perfectly fine to want to work in investment management. It's perfectly
I'm a
fine.
law graduate.
You're a
I'm a
law,
law graduate.
you're
I'm
a
not
law
studying
graduate.
it.
Oh, okay, great, great. If you're a law graduate, it's perfectly fine to work in data analytics, in investment management, or any other part of the firm. Yeah, I would repeat again, what is critical is your interest. Can you show that regardless of the fact that you're studying law, you have a valid interest, in data analytics, you have a valid interest in investment management. I'm sure part of the application requires you to explain why you want to work in this particular place. So you need to actually show that you are really interested in working in these areas that you pick.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So again, still on the post-application stage, it is also stated on the website that the program is divided into two, like a 4-week based project work and a 4-week experience in specific units within the firm.
Yeah.
Can you give us the gist? What is it about? Like 8 weeks, 4 weeks here, 4 weeks there.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. The first 4 weeks, like I mentioned earlier, is basically a team exercise where you work on a project that the company gives you. For my year, our project was to develop an idea, sort of using artificial intelligence and blockchain technology for the real estate arm of the company, for the real estate unit of the company, right? So, and that's why I say, regardless of what you study, you can get into the program, because for the first 4 weeks, you might be doing something that is not related to finance. So in my year, we did artificial intelligence and blockchain. That is not exactly related to finance directly. So it was a technology project we did, and I studied economics, right? So basically, that's what it is. So you would be split into teams, work with a group of 5 or 6 people, fellow interns. You have coaches and you have mentors that would you can go to if you seek clarification, if you seek ideas, or if you get stuck, or if you need help with some research or some data. If you need professional advice, you have mentors, that you'll be assigned to for that. But ultimately, the goal is to imbibe the spirit of teamwork and bring fresh ideas from fresh graduates or fresh undergraduates to the company. So what you'll be required to do is just work together and come up with solutions. Then the second half of the program is where you actually then intern within a specific unit. During my time, I interned within the financial advisory units, which is basically corporate finance, or as you would say, investment banking. And I performed some deal origination and structuring processes in my 4 weeks there. Did some research, worked with the Bloomberg terminal, and actually worked on live projects for the company. So within those 4 weeks, you would be, based on your choices, you would be assigned to a particular unit, and you work with the people there. You assist with whatever they're doing, and you make sure you just network with people and learn as much as you can within those 4 weeks.
Thank you very much, Olumiyuwa. Just a quick question.
Yeah.
Now, ARM, PwC, Wando, NNPC, there are so many of them. You see these applications every day, every year it comes out, and then it just goes like that. And some people can literally tell you that throughout like that 4 years in university, they've never really seen anyone that they know personally that has won this internship. So it seems as if you have to like have this godlike feature or godlike CV or something before you be chosen. So what is your advice to people like this, people who have been, okay, that first of all, they have not really seen anyone that serves as a role model except listening to you right now. And secondly, they have tried to apply. They've applied to one, two, three, four. They kept getting a love letter, a rejection letter. So what will
Okay. Can you hear me still? You can. Okay.
get?
All
Yeah.
right. So my advice would be to take a step back and um just think about what you might be doing wrong. Ultimately, that's what matters. You could be doing the same thing multiple times, but because you're not doing it in the right way, you're not getting the desired results. So there are basic things that must be done. A recruiter has to go through. I did a session recently, and there was a statistic that recruiters go through about 600 CVs in a day, and basically the average time a recruiter has to look at your CV is 6 seconds. 6 seconds. So, does your CV stand out within 6 seconds? Can we see that you have experiences that are related to what you're applying for within 6 seconds? So there needs to be quick fire information on your CV that shows that you're really interested in this opportunity, right? There need to be some buzzwords that show that you're interested in this opportunity. I think that's my first advice for people that have tried multiple times that have not gotten in. Take a step back, review your CV, review your cover letter, get people to look at your CV, get people to look at your cover letter, and give you their opinion. There are some things you might need to take out, you might need to include, because technology is taking over, right? There's ChatGPT now. There's so many things you can use to write a cover letter or a CV. If you put your details in some of this software, create a CV for you, and some of these softwares can even help you scan through your CVs, right? And these recruiters use this software as well. Imagine a recruiter that's working for a big bank in America that's going through 3,000 CVs. It's not possible. Some of them put the CVs through some screening tool that searches for some particular words and experiences, and then turns out the candidates that they should look into further. So that's a critical part of everything. If you don't have a strong CV, I don't think you can succeed in these applications. And that's one thing that I've always advocated for. I've attended a number of CV workshops myself. Even till now, I still give people my CV to look at, regardless of the fact that I have professional experience. And then your cover letter, how well can you tell your story? I know that writing is something that not everybody can do properly. So for me, with the applications I've done, even to get into Imperial Business School, I've had different people look at my letters, my essays, change this, change that. You just have to have professional eyes to look at it. You need to have your colleagues to look at it. There are different levels of reviews. The worst thing you can do for yourself is keep quiet and just try to do these things on your own. No, because you don't know everything. So that's really my advice. Also, network. Your network is very, very important, because it's through networking I'm here right now. So there are people that have done these things before you. There are people that have achieved success in these things before you. There are people that are working in these companies that you want to work in. So if you want to work in Orlando, for example, you have a LinkedIn account. Create a LinkedIn account, put your profile, put your education and all that. Send requests to people that work there, to recruiters, to analysts that are there, and ask. You might send 15 messages, you get only one reply, but that reply can change your life. So there are very, very few programs like this that if you try 100 times and you achieve success once, you're successful. Meaning this process is a very specific one, but as long as you can do it consistently and do it in a particular structured way, you will definitely achieve success. So have a strong CV, have a good cover letter as well. Get these documents reviewed by people, by friends, by senior colleagues, and by professionals. Network with as much people as possible, such that they can give you advice, and some of them can even put good words for you in these application processes. And just take a step back and reflect as to to what you might be doing wrong. For me, in my personal experience, that's what I've done. The internships I did before my professional experience, I those were the internships, those were the only internships I applied for. So basically I got in the first time I tried. And it was because I did it the right way. I sought advice from people that had done it the year before me. How should I do this? How should I, apply for this? What should my CV look like? What should my cover letter look like? And of course, when you're going through the stages, seek help, when you're going for the aptitude tests, for some of these companies, the test might be difficult, practice so you can scale through. Some of these things are not difficult. There are things we've done in primary school. Just the fact that you have no calculator to do them now, So yeah, that's my advice. Network, have a strong CV and cover letter, and seek advice, get people to review your documents. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So, for those that are on the call, please, if you have any question, just be keeping them somewhere. When it's like, let's get to question time. Or if you cannot wait, just raise up your hands so we can ask you to ask your question. So, just a follow up to the your wonderful response to my earlier question. You said something about interview. What was the interview like? What are the questions you were asked? Besides your previous experience in PwC, I didn't any secret tips you might want to give us on the areas to prepare for before going for the interview.
I mean, it's really tough for me to remember the questions. This was 4 years ago now. But I would say, of course, the first question in every interview is introduce yourself, and that is your chance to captivate the audience. That is your chance to get them interested in you, and it's really critical to introduce yourself properly. You don't introduce yourself by saying, I'm 15 years old, I was born in Lagos. You don't say that in an interview. You introduce yourself by saying, this is what you study. My name is Muyiwa. I studied economics for my undergraduate degree. I am a member of the finance society in my school. I have strong interest in financial analysis, in research, and things like this. That's how you start introducing yourself, such that from the get-go, they understand that this young person is really interested in this opportunity. So knowing, and this is something you practice because it's a short question. It only makes sense that you practice it before you get into the room with the interviewer. So practice the words you would say when you're asked to introduce yourself. Practice the way you're going to introduce yourself. It's so important. I can't really remember the exact questions they asked me, but I mean, typically they can ask some motivation questions. They are called, I can't remember what they're called, but they are not technical questions. There are different types of interviews. There are technical interviews where they ask you maybe about economics, about accounting processes, DCF, valuation, and all those things. But, for this type of internship, you won't be asked a technical question. I mean, the worst case scenario, you would ask a brain teaser. And a brain teaser is basically what is the angle between the two hands of the clock when the long hand is at 12 and the short hand is at 3. That's a brain teaser. Or they can ask you 99 divided by 2, answer within 5 seconds, just to test your mental capability. But that's the hardest thing they can ask you, But typically, it's just motivation questions. What is your experience in working with the team? What are the times you've worked in a team before? And in that aspect, as an undergraduate, you can talk about the times you've worked in a team in class. It's perfectly fine. Were you the leader? What role did you play in a team? You can be asked, is there a particular time you suffered a setback or you suffered failure in your academics? How did you overcome that? And it's very fine to say that, you tried to go for maybe an executive position in a society and you did not win, but it taught you how to be resilient and how to take failure, because in life you can't avoid failure. It's very important for you to learn how to pick yourself up from failure. Those are the things they want to see, because in the professional setting, you would make mistakes. So they want someone that was able to admit mistakes and learn from them. So apart from introducing yourself, just have responses for possible competency questions, like, talk about the times you've worked through a team, you've worked in a team, talk about the time you've experienced failure and things like that. But I mean, at the end of the day, just be confident, answer. It's you can't really avoid nerves in interviews, particularly as a young undergraduate, right? But the recruiters know this, and it's only natural. But at the end of the day, it's important to try to shine regardless of the pressure, right? But you can only shine like that if you're well prepared. So preparation is very key.
Okay, thank you very much. Just to add to what you're saying, so there's this seminar that I attended once in my school, and then one of the speakers said, when you're going for an interview, ensure to have something that you want to bring to the table. So when you get there, you're not just being there to beg them to employ or to take you for the role, but you're telling them, if you give this opportunity, I'm bringing this to the table. So I tried it once, and it so happened that it was for a law firm internship, and I went through their website. So the terrible website, they had very few research work there. So I came there, I came for the interview, and I told the interviewer, people don't do research here in this firm. Your research on the website is very outdated and everything. So if you take me, I'm going to work on it. So that was one of my an hour long. It was that long. So thank you very much, You've said a lot. How about the CV? Again, I've attended so many seminars. One of the speakers was saying something about CV, that we make the mistake of highlighting our rules rather than the achievements. That nobody really wants to know that, okay, you were, let's say, class rep, assistant class rep. They want to know, okay, in your position as a class rep, what did you achieve? So from your achievement, they can say, okay, this person is an achiever. And so if you can achieve this in this little role, you will do better in this other role. So what is your comment on it? On highlighting your achievements on your CV?
Yeah, I mean, for an undergraduate, it's really tough to list achievements because you start thinking, what have I achieved in 2 years or 3 years in this school? If you've worked, then it's easy to say, you helped as an analyst, you help manage a particular portfolio to achieve 25% return. But I think, it also makes sense. For example, if you are a member of society, you can say that as a member of society, I organized this program, I organized a webinar for my colleagues or for undergraduates to help build a bridge between school and the actual professional life. It just shows that you're able to take on leadership positions. So I think it's a good idea, although whatever you put in needs to have some relevance to what you're applying for. You can't put, things that have no correlation at all with what you're applying for. So it's something that's a good idea, but it needs to be done in a very, in a very structured way.
Aminat, you heard him. We just spoke to you that you help people to organize webinars to reach their opportunities and their schoolwork. Okay, so just a very quick question too. On the network, it's a good thing that they don't ask for recommendations letter here for this internship. But you made mention of networking. Can you just touch on it a little bit?
Great. I mean, networking is so important, regardless of the fact that you don't need a recommendation. If you're able to talk to someone that's in the firm or someone that's going through the program, they can give you pointers for your interview. They can give you pointers for the kind of CV that, you should send. So ultimately, even when I hope someone from, this platform gets the internship, when you get to ARM, you need to network with the people there, because, one's career is a very long journey. You don't get into a company and feel comfortable. You get there and network and build your own personal network, build your own personal brand. Even till now, here in London, with the jobs I've gotten, I've had to network with people that, are in these companies, are in these investment banks, that work within these big banks in the world, to get these opportunities that I have. So, the importance of networking above this ARM internship, above everything, is so key to one's professional development. So, in terms of the actual application, it's really, really, really important to try to talk to somebody that is in the company. I mean, for me, I didn't, and I got in. But, these are the things you learn, and you learn during the way, and you give back to people in terms of advice, because it's an early career role. Networking might not play so much of a role. Like you said, you don't need a recommendation letter, but networking still helps you in preparing for interviews. It still helps you in preparing for tests. It still helps you with knowing what to wear. It still helps you with just the little things. Someone's 2 sentence advice could be the difference between you getting the offer and you not getting the offer. So, networking could be anything. People always think, even for me till now, networking could be very uncomfortable. You start thinking, okay, what will I say to this person? Does this person have my time? He's probably doing something so important with his time. He probably can't answer me, things like that. But no, the important thing is to try and say something. You can just compliment somebody's shirt. You can see a senior colleague walking past as an intern and say, oh, you have a really nice shirt. I like that. You could be in the canteen during lunch break and you sit with somebody and just talk about football. Ask the person if, what club do they support, So people tend to appreciate relationships that start from personal interests and not even the work. But also it's fine to be in the office and just go to a senior colleague and say, can I sit with you? What are you working on? Can I just observe what you're doing? People appreciate things like that, because for me, I don't know if you get there, but we're running out of time. But the way I was able to convert my internship to a full-time offer was through networking, right? It happened that when I was running up my program, I had networked with somebody that was leaving the firm, an analyst that was leaving the firm. So he spoke to me that, I'm leaving the company now. I work in investment management. Would you want to take up my space, even though you might join as your NYC intern? And I said, yeah, why not? And he spoke to the head of investment, and he gave good recommendations that, he's a smart young guy. He's willing. He has a drive. I trust him. And they interviewed me for about an hour. They asked me, it's typical questions that are not so difficult. If I give you $1 million today, how would you invest it? Things like that. And it was a very beautiful interview, and I got the offer the next day. So even before you get in, networking is important with helping with the process. But even when you're inside the company, networking is important to either convert that job to a full-time offer. And even if you don't convert it to a full-time offer, you can gain relevant professional relationships that can help you later on in life. There are people there that will still leave the company and start up things of their own. And remember that, I know a particular Aminat from somewhere that is a very, as a very, very energized young woman, and I want her to come and work with me, So networking is so key. And, people are in different parts of the world, but we have technology that brings everybody together. We have LinkedIn that you can send requests. You can message people and say, hey, can you help me with, I'm so person, I'm interested in this. I've seen that you've done this based on your profile. Do you have a minute to spare to answer a few questions? And that's it, So networking is so essential.
Thank you very much, Olumiwa. Talking about messaging on LinkedIn, I hope you'll be open to accepting connection requests from us when we'll send it to you.
Yeah. Of course.
Okay.
I'm a young professional, so we're all in the same boat.
So we're wrapping it up here. Thank you, Olumiwa. Thank you for the gists, the insider tips, and everything we talked about. The application stages, the application stage, CV, cover letter, and post application stage, and preparing for your ARM interview. For our viewers there, don't be afraid, come with your application.